It's time to see what's happening in the news here on NHK World. I'm James Tengan in Tokyo. We begin with news from the Korean Peninsula. 65 years ago, an armistice ended fighting in the Korean War, but a peace treaty was never signed. Now there are reports that a deal could be within reach. News agency Yonhap quotes a South Korean official as saying Seoul and Washington are considering ways to reward Pyongyang if it denuclearizes. One option is a peace deal. This development comes ahead of a face-to-face meeting of the leaders of both Koreas next Friday. For a peace deal to be approved, the U.S. would have to give the go-ahead. During a meeting with Japan's Prime Minister, Donald Trump signaled he would do just that.
People don't realize the Korean War has not ended. It's going on right now, and they are discussing an end to the war. So, subject to a deal, they would certainly have my blessing, and they do have my blessing to discuss that.
Trump said his meeting with North Korea's leader can be expected around early June. He would become the first serving U.S. president to meet with the North Korean leader. Meanwhile, Donald Trump and Shinzo Abe have agreed to work together to make the North abandon its nuclear and missile programs. Abe flew to Florida to meet with Trump for the talks. Abe has also been pushing Trump to bring up another issue when he meets with Kim Jong-un, and Trump says he will.
The U.S. and North Korea will hold a summit for the first time. I hope it will become a historic meeting that solves the nuclear issue, the missile issue, and one issue that is very important to Japan, the abduction issue.
We will bring up the abductees, we'll bring up many different things. I think it's a time for talking, it's a time for solving problems. I know that's been a very big factor for you.
Abe and Trump were joined by their wives for dinner following their meeting. Abe is spending 2 days in Florida. Aside from the North Korean summit, he's expected to talk to Trump about trade. The U.S. president wants to negotiate a bilateral free trade agreement to cut his country's trade deficit with Japan. But Tokyo fears a bilateral accord could result in Japan making huge concessions in the auto and farm sectors. To avoid that, Abe plans to propose a new framework for dialogue on trade and investment. The two leaders also plan to play golf, as they did when Trump visited Japan last November.